In this week's lesson, we're going to learn another way to avoid duplicate code. You may have noticed that in every test we've written, we need to log in. We've already created a special login command to do this, but we can save even more lines of code by putting the login command in a before each block. The before each and after each blocks allow us to create reusable steps that run before and after every test. Let's try it out. Let's take a look at our update contact tests. We've got two tests in here. One where we are updating the contact and it works well. It's the happy path. And then we've got one where it returns an error when the birth date validation fails. So that's our sad path. And we can see in both of our tests, we start with logging in and we end with deleting the contact. So why not pull those commands out of the two tests and put them in before each and after each hooks? So before we do that, I always like to run my tests first before I make any changes to make sure that they are still working. So let's do that. We will run our update contact.spec file. And our tests are both running and passing. So now let's go back and we'll start to make some changes. So right below the first line of the file where it says describe update contact tests, we are going to put a new command. We're going to say before each, then we have our double parentheses, and then our arrow function, and then our curly braces. And in here, we will say login. Oops, cy.login. Let's put a little space here between our before each command and our first test. And so now we can get rid of this login line in this test and the login line in our second test. And we will save. And let's go back to our spec files in Cypress and we'll run the tests and we will see if they still pass. And they do. So now we've removed a couple of lines of code. We've put them into our before each command. Now let's create an after each command. The after each command goes after the second test, but before the final curly brace and parentheses. So we will say after each, and then the double parentheses, and then the arrow, and then the curly braces. We need an ending parenthesis right there. And now we will say cy.delete contact. And now let's get rid of the delete contact command from our second test and the delete contact command from our first test. Save again, and let's run our tests and see if they still pass. And they do. The before each and after each blocks are a great way to pull out any repetitive code that you have in your tests. There's also another set of code blocks called before and after, which run once before all of the tests in your class and then once after all of the tests in your class. I don't find this particularly useful, but I will show you how it works. So let's go to our add contact file. And right after the first line where it says describe, we're going to put in the new command before. I don't know why the autocomplete is doing that, but I will fix it. Go. And let's just put in a log statement instead of actually doing anything with our tests, just so that we can see how it works. So I will say cy.log. This is running in my before hook. Save, and then down at the bottom, before the last curly brace in parentheses, I'll do the after. And I will say cy.log. This is running in my after hook. We'll save. And now let's go over to our add contact tests. And we'll let them run. And now if we open up these tests, you can see right here, before all, and there's my log statement. This is running in my before hook. And then we can notice at the end of this test, there's no after, because the after only runs after all. So we'll close that up. If we open up our second test, we can see there's no before log statement because it runs before the first test. And then if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see there's our after all command, and there's our log statement. Thanks for watching this video. If you found my training helpful, please like this video and share it with others. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single lesson. If you're enjoying Monday Morning Automation and you'd like to learn even faster, be sure to check out my book, The Complete Software Tester, which is available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon.com.